This is Arise With Us, written by Craig A. Faulkner, narrated by John Keelty. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. George Bernard Shaw. 1. None of this was my idea. I'm not saying it was a bad idea, and I hope more than anything that it turns out to be a good one. I'm just saying, it wasn't mine. Despite my general uncertainty about all of this, I do have to admit that the views, since we left the main road, have been even better than Dr. Chambers promised me, which is surely a good thing to start with. He tells me the cabin he's picked out is beautiful too, and by now, I've come to trust him like a brother. He's the reason I'm here, or the reason I'm anywhere, except that damn hospital, for one weekend at least. And whatever happens over the next 3 days, I'll always be grateful for the lobbying he did to get me out. A weekend in total isolation might not be everyone's cup of tea, even tucked away in the unspoiled Scottish wilderness. But for 6 weeks, I've been dealing with a kind of isolation that runs deeper than that. When I look at Dr. Chambers in the driver's seat, I see a good man. When I look at my reflection in the wing mirror, I see a stranger. I don't know much about this doctor, who's going so far out of his way to help me, but at least I know his name and what he does for a living. And right now, since whatever happened a couple of months ago, that's 2 more things than I know about myself. Dr. Chambers wasn't wrong about the area, and he wasn't wrong about the cabin. I'll give him that. "Told you it was a nice spot," he says, smiling in reaction to my involuntary gasp when our destination comes into view. It's a beautiful spot, right enough. In one single vista, I'm trying to take in the dense woodland to our right, the snowy mountains on the horizon, and best of all, the shore of the loch that's practically tickling the cabin's toes. The cabin itself looks pretty compact and rustic, if we're being generous with terminology, but you couldn't beat a location like this if you tried. With every turn and every new sight, I felt better for going along with this whole idea. If a place like this can't heal my brain, then I don't know what ever could. The very last section of our drive through the glen takes us past a few dozen young oaks on either side of the dirt road that seems to function as the cabin's driveway. It looks like there's a gap, where 2 or maybe 3 saplings didn't make it, but I'd say that's a decent enough success rate. The car comes to a gentle stop, right next to the cabin's small entrance porch. It's been a smooth ride. With his neatly trimmed grey hair and his perfectly pressed shirt, Dr. Chambers doesn't really look like someone who'd see an isolated road like this as an opportunity to put his foot down and get the best out of his fancy motor. You'd expect him to be a careful driver, and you wouldn't be wrong. Then again, after our first few conversations last month, I never would have expected him to be the one pushing for anything as unorthodox as the weekend that lies ahead of me. "Still game?" he asks softly. I nod. Aye. Like Dr. Chambers, I'm Scottish. I know that much, at least. My accent tells me that. And my reflection tells me I'm probably somewhere between 35 and 40. But my insight on myself really does end there. I know a lot of facts and trivia about the kind of stuff they liked to test me on at first, like sports and politics and films and the rest of it. It's just anything personal that I struggle with. What I do and don't know, and even more so why I do and don't know it, has been confounding the doctors since I woke up 6 weeks ago. I've spoken to enough of them to know that there's nothing all that remarkable about some degree of amnesia coming from a major brain trauma, but I've also spoken to enough of them to know that there's no textbook explanation for the unusual patterns of memory and identity loss that I'm still experiencing. They are treating it differently too, in a way they've openly told me could aid their understanding of future cases, as well as improve my own chances. I won't lie. With some of them, I feel like they see me as an experiment. I feel like they're just interested in seeing what happens if they don't tell me anything about myself, seeing what my damaged brain comes up with to fill the void. Dr. Chambers is different though. He talks to me differently, looks at me differently. He's spoken to me very candidly about all kinds of theories, and he's told me that traumatic memories are sometimes suppressed as a defense mechanism. I know I was in a physically damaging incident because my body was damaged, along with my brain. Hell, I was in a coma for long enough that they weren't sure I would make it out. They've never outright called it an accident, but on the handful of times I've asked Dr. Chambers if I did this to myself with a suicide attempt, he's always said that the latest research really does suggest it's best for me to work through this myself. He thinks it might just take time, and that a break from the stressful environment of the hospital could be just the ticket we need. With that in mind, he's designed a program of self-reflection for me to work through over the weekend, in the hope of triggering something that can maybe get me back on track. I don't like thinking about how high the stakes are, and he's been clear that I should try not to. Yes, my all-important psych evaluation by the hospital board is on Monday morning. And yes, a lack of progress this weekend would probably earn me a sentence of God knows how much longer under their full-time observation. But Dr. Chambers has told me that thinking about that will bring stress that could make failure more likely, and it's hard to argue with his logic. Deciding not to be stressed out is easier said than done, but I'll give it a go. Just as he's about to open his door to get out, Dr. Chambers stops and looks at me. "Do you feel any different yet?" he asks. I feel confusion furrowing my brow. Well, should I? I mean, I'm all for optimism here, but I'm not even out of the car. "It'll come," he says, in his soothing way, before he reaches for the door again and actually opens it this time. "I'll get your bags and help you settle in." I follow his lead, annoyed but hardly surprised that my still recovering knee feels stiffer than a girder as I step out. Dr. Chambers is swift on his feet and already on his way back for my second bag before I even reach the porch. My eyes explore the vast space around the cabin, with not another soul in sight as far as the eye can see. Some people might not like this, but after so long, with so many eyes on me at the hospital, physical isolation feels like just the ticket. I don't want to go back. I want this to work. I need this to work. My face obviously betrays the thought, because Dr. Chambers reaches out and puts a hand on my shoulder. "Don't worry," he says, a newly revealed certainty in his tone. "It'll come." 2. It's warm. When I open the door, that's the first thing that hits me. The air is warm and the decor is warm, and straight away I feel like Dr. Chambers has picked the perfect place for me to relax and work through the memory recovery program he's put together. The settling in he promised to help with is just basic stuff like showing me where the kitchen appliances are, and most importantly, the folder of exercises he's left on the coffee table. It's a round glass-top table with legs that spread from a central base and look like antlers. The wallpaper is a soft tartan, and the carpets are plush. Dr. Chambers doesn't slip up. He shares no more information about the place, apart from saying he was here yesterday to stock everything I'll need. I have no TV or computer, and the phone he's given me can only call one number. His. "I'll always be reachable if you need me," he promises, after a quick tour of the place. "But solitude is your friend, so I'd encourage you to only call if you truly do need to." Even though I never expect him to, I'm always paying extra close attention in case Dr. Chambers addresses me with my name. He doesn't, even when he says his low-key goodbye. And when the door closes behind him, it's hard not to feel like I'm a stranger in my own company. As he suggested, I spend the afternoon doing very little. I watch the birds and the deer as they come and go, leaving my exercise folder inside on the table while I sit on the porch. I'm wrapped up against the cold. Scotland, after all, but I already feel the most comfortable I have for a long time. Dinner time takes me back inside and involves a healthy little meal that goes straight from the freezer to the microwave. It's a vegetable chow mein, and easily the nicest thing I've eaten since I woke up in that hospital bed. Dr. Chambers wanted me to engage multiple senses while I eat, so I turn on some music he preloaded onto my phone. It was chosen to be relaxing, he said, but I'm delighted to find that it's real music I remember from before the incident, not classical or jazz or anything like that. This feels like a safety net if I get bored with no TV or books, and I decide to leave the tunes playing long after I finish up my dinner. Suddenly, a song plays that gets me thinking in a different way. It's about love. Dr. Chambers told me right from the start that I don't have a significant other, or any close family, which is why he wasn't ethically conflicted about taking the slow road of trying to let me rediscover myself on my own. I can't pretend it's not a bit depressing to think that no one is missing me, but it is what it is. It's probably too dark now for the porch, since any artificial light would scare away the kind of animals that kept me entertained during the day, so I lock the door once I've washed my dishes. An easygoing song about swimming in the sea brings a smile to my face, and I decide to start up the mini spa bath that's one of this cabin's best surprises. It's quick to fill up, and the bubbling sound is nice, even from here by the fridge, where I'm getting a nice cold drink to complete the relaxation experience. The fridge is right under the kitchen window, which is now just a square of unbroken darkness. At least, until it's not. I feel my eyes widen like a cartoon dog's when I stand back up with my drink in hand. On the other side of the window, where there was nothing but darkness, I now see an impossibly bright light. What the hell? I hear myself muttering. As I'm standing in confusion, my eyes start to adjust. Instead of general brightness, I can now make out a single source point. Two things quicken my heart. The light is in the sky, and it's coming down to earth. 3. I can't believe what I'm seeing. There's a white light in the sky like nothing I've seen before, slowly heading for the ground. It's so bright I can see the trees again, and I can tell it's coming down right over the dense woodland. It's not something burning up, like a meteor or whatever, not when it's as white as this, and not when it's coming straight down. But no one would land a plane or anything over the woods, and it wouldn't be following such a vertical path either. I really don't know what... 2. In the blink of an eye, there's another light, not much higher than the first, and following the same path. I run to unlock the door and step out to the porch for a better look, and by the time I get there, a third light has appeared. The darkness is gone, and so is the silence, with untold numbers of grouse going absolutely mental in reaction to whatever is out there. It sounds like the woods are emptying. Their calls sound like what you'd hear if there was a fox in the henhouse. But what's the fox? What the hell are those lights? I watch as they keep descending, all the way to the ground. No more lights appear after the third, and the darkness of the night returns when they all reach the ground. I can't tell if the lights actually go off, or if they're just shrouded by the trees now. So, I go back inside and turn off all the lights to give my eyes a chance to readjust. I go back to the porch before long, but I can't see any kind of glow from the woods, which makes me think that either the lights have gone off, or whatever objects were causing them have gone back to wherever they came from. I sit for an hour, easily, waiting for something to happen and wondering what's out there. Nothing changes, leaving my mind free to come up with all sorts of answers to the obvious questions. I want to know if anyone else has seen this, but at a time when I'm looking ahead to a psych evaluation that could determine my immediate future, shouting about UFOs hardly seems like the wisest move. Tomorrow, I decide. Calling Dr. Chambers at this time of night isn't going to do me any favours, so I'll give him a call in the morning and broach this gently. I had a good day, I'll say, and then I'll say I saw some weird lights. There might be a simple explanation I'm missing. Maybe the distance and the darkness were playing tricks, and I was just seeing the light on a logging crane or something like that. But I guess that still raises questions about why they'd be on in the middle of the night. The grouse were so loud that I couldn't hear anything else, So I guess it's possible there was a din of machinery I didn't pick up. Whatever has been happening out there, I sure don't feel like getting into the spa bath anymore. All I want to do is lie down. So much for peaceful self-reflection. My head hurts, whether that's from staring at the lights or from thinking too hard about where they came from, so I call it a night and crawl into what I'm glad to say is a very comfortable bed. Although my first day was a gentle one, my first night has brought more questions than answers. I came here to remember who the hell I am. But as I'm drifting off to sleep, another mystery all of a sudden feels just as important. Who the hell was in the woods? 4. Sunlight and birdsong stream into the bedroom as I open my eyes after what feels like it's been a really long sleep. I roll over and look at the gently ticking clock on the other side of the room. Sure enough, I've been out for almost 13 hours. Probably because the bed is so comfortable and the room is so much more relaxing than the hospital wards where I've spent the past 6 weeks, I figure. But all of those thoughts leave my head as I sit up. My eyes are still heavy as it all comes back to me. The sunlight and birdsong of the present moment are a world away from the blinding white lights in the sky and the cacophonous wailing of the grouse last night. And now that last night is back in my mind, it's time for some answers. I get dressed and call Dr. Chambers without wasting another minute. "Is this an emergency?" his familiar voice asks. I'm just about to reply when he goes on, "Remember, it really will be for the best if you work through the exercises and spend this weekend gently searching within yourself for the answers you're looking for." Belatedly, I realize I'm listening to a recorded message. "If you feel like you need to talk to me for any reason, press 1 and you'll be connected right away. But please consider whether it truly is necessary. What you're doing isn't easy, but it's for the best." This is all well and good, and in no way am I trying to second-guess his professional opinion or his motives. I am trying to get to the bottom of what I saw last night, though, and I really feel like it's going to get in the way of everything else until we've talked about it. I press 1. "Are you okay?" Dr. Chambers asks, picking up immediately. He answers the phone so quickly that I know he must have been alerted to my call right away and was waiting to see whether I felt like I needed to talk. He sounds genuinely concerned. "But I'm fine," I tell him. "It's just, I saw something weird last night. 3 lights in the sky. They came down over the woods, and I just wanted to know if anyone else has seen them, or if you have any idea what they might have been coming from." I hear a slow nasal inhalation down the phone. It's not exaggerated or impatient sounding, but he's clearly uneasy about what I've said. "I had a sore head when I went to bed," I go on, "right after it happened, and I slept for 13 hours. I've never seen anything like it." "Do you know if anyone else saw it? Are there any news reports of strange sightings?" "You've been through a lot," Dr. Chambers eventually replies. "Your first night was always going to be the hardest, and I think that long sleep will set you up for a good day of progress if you keep working through the exercises. Did you start yesterday with the music while you ate?" I can't help but wonder whether he even heard what I said. Bizarre lights in the sky, and he's asking about music. "I didn't imagine it," I insist, thinking that must be what he's assuming. "I know what I saw. Well, I don't know what the lights were, but I know I saw them. I'm not crazy." "No one thinks you're crazy," he says. "Areas of your mind are simply recovering from a prolonged period of inactivity, and sometimes there can be overcompensation. This isn't a bad thing." Okay, so he doesn't think I'm crazy, but he does think my brain has been playing tricks on me. Got it. "This isn't some part of the recovery program, is it?" I ask. If there's distrust in my voice, I can't help it. I can understand it, but I can't help it. Those lights weren't a setup to see what I think about them, were they? I hear a gulp. "Would you like me to come there and talk about this?" Dr. Chambers replies, with a question of his own. "I can assure you I had nothing to do with any lights you might have seen last night." But for this weekend to have any chance of working, it's crucial, I can assure you of that. I'm on your side here. I believe him. Dr. Chambers always acted like someone who's on my side, pushing for a change of scene and persuading the others to sign off on this weekend. To be honest, I feel a little bit bad for making him think I don't trust him. It's okay, I tell him. I don't really think that. My mind is just trying to make sense of what I saw. I wish I could assure you that I did see it, but I'll get stuck into the exercises again and try to focus on them. Excellent, he says. I really do think you're closer than you were yesterday. Just go easy on yourself. Work through the exercises and remember, I'm only ever a phone call away. So if I see the lights again? He hesitates. I don't think you will. Try to focus on what's within yourself, okay? That's where your answers lie. Easier said than done, I reply, but I'll try. When we say our goodbyes, I can't help but feel that he's worried about me. He thinks I imagined the lights, that's for sure. I know I didn't. But that doesn't mean I'm expecting to see them again. This call has settled my mind on one thing, though. If the lights do come back tonight, I won't be calling Dr. Chambers. 5. I did the day's exercises in good faith. I listened to the music at dinner, and I even got into the spa bath to relax my body and mind. Let's be honest, though. There's only been one thought in my mind all day. Are they coming back? I don't have much longer to find out. I didn't get a note of the exact time the lights appeared last night, and I don't know how long I was staring, but my best guess is that it was right around this time. I'm not entirely sure whether I want them to return or not. I'm not exactly expecting them to, but am I hoping they will? I suppose it's like the thing people say about tossing a coin to find out what you really want. If you can't decide on whether to wear the black shoes or the brown ones, you're supposed to assign heads or tails to black, and then see what the coin toss delivers. You'll be pleased or disappointed, even if the feeling is mild, and then you'll know which pair you want. That said, there's probably not going to be anything mild about this. There also might not be a decisive moment. If the lights come back, I'll know right away. But if they don't, the night will just kind of fizzle out. I'd probably end up falling asleep before the sun comes up, so would I even know for sure if they'd come back? It's all hypothetical for now, and there's not a lot I can do besides pay attention and be ready to... Yes, the light. One at first, and then a second, much closer behind the first than last night. A third follows seconds later. I'm smiling. I'm excited. I'm not crazy. The coin fell the right way. It's hard to be sure, but I could swear the lights are taking longer to reach the ground than they did last night. That could be down to the different perspective, I suppose, because this time I'm not watching from the kitchen. I'm outside, but this time I'm not watching from the porch either. With my backpack, a torch, and a knife for emergencies, this time I'm going for a closer look. Adrenaline dulls the worst of my knees' tightness, and the insanely loud calls of the spooked grouse bring a discomfort to my ears that doesn't leave room to notice much anywhere else. If Dr. Chambers didn't think I was crazy when I told him about the lights I saw last night, I'm sure he would if he knew what I was doing right now. But getting a closer view is the only way to find out what's happening out there. And to me, that's at least as important as finding out all the internal answers he wants me to focus on. I'm not going to run into the woods like a lemming off a cliff. That would be crazy. I'm just going to look for a sign of where the lights are coming from. A sign of what's making the usually placid grouse squawk like they're being murdered en masse. I'm pleased to say that the grouse orchestra slowly fades with each passing step, which I suppose makes sense, as they are fleeing the lights and moving out of earshot. I can still see the lights, which makes me pretty sure they are descending more slowly this time. I'm walking with the aid of the torch, which I'm flicking on and off every so often, to get a better idea of whether the less explicable light sources are still around. All of a sudden, on my latest check, flicking the torch off brings a total darkness. I think they're gone. I think I'm too late. I keep going though. And if anything, this now seems like a better idea than it did a minute ago. Now I can walk into the woods to look for signs of what just left, instead of stepping into the light beam of God knows what. I wouldn't say I was ever really scared, but I'm definitely more relaxed about it now. As I reach the trees, I can't pretend that isn't changing. I'm not too big to see it. Now I'm scared. There's a different kind of darkness when even the moon and stars are out of sight, and a different kind of uneasiness comes with silence. The sound of the frightened birds was unsettling, but there's something about a silence that brings every cracking twig into focus. I like to think I have a good general sense of direction, so when I don't find the lights after 15 minutes, I start to accept they're not just obscured by the trees like I thought from the edge of the woods. They're gone. I stop when I reach a little clearing. The beam of my torch isn't wide enough to see much at once, but I can see fallen trees that make me think this clearing hasn't been here for long. This has to be the spot, I figure. This has to be where they came down. Whatever the hell they actually are. When I move my beam in a wide circle, a reflective shine catches my eye. There's something unnatural on a tree trunk up ahead, and I don't delay in walking over to check it out. Jackpot, I smile to myself. It's a trail camera. If this is a coincidence, it's a good one. But for all I know, there are wildlife tracking cameras like this all around the woods, and the density of the trees everywhere else is all that stopped me from coming across one. I study it up close and manage to unclip it easily. It has a touch screen on the back, but there's no illumination. I press the only physical button, one with a power symbol, and a dead battery icon flashes in the corner of the screen. There's a hole for a standard charging cable, the same kind I have for the phone Dr. Chambers gave me, so I know I can get this working back at the cabin and see if there's anything interesting in its image gallery. There has to be, right? There has to be. I walk back with a spring in my step, even though I'm feeling my knee more than before. Although I didn't see the lights up close, or find out what the source actually is, tonight has been anything but a bust. I now know what time to expect their return tomorrow, and I have a camera I can recharge to set up again before they come back. Even before then, though, I might see something it's already recorded. When I get back, I plug the charger in right away. There's good news and slightly frustrating news. Good, it's charging. Frustrating, slowly. There are 10 bars on the battery indicator, and some dotted red lines make it look like it's going to take 3 full bars for it to power up. In the 20 minutes I take to shower off the dirt from the woods and get ready for bed, it hasn't even filled up 1 bar. I study it more closely and find that there's a removable memory card inside. So in the worst case scenario of the battery being totally dead, I know I can call Dr. Chambers to bring a computer. Then he'll know I wasn't imagining it, I think to myself. Whatever is in those woods, the two of us will know by tomorrow night at the latest. But if this camera is as good a find as I think it is, we won't even have to wait that long. 6. I can't believe I've slept in so late for the 2nd day running, but I'm anything but disappointed. All this means is that I have less time to wait until the lights come back tonight. My head hurts a little bit, the same kind of feeling I had on the first night, but I suppose I haven't been drinking as much water as I should, and I'm not used to sleeping for anything like this long. Anyway, the sight of the charging camera on my bedside table pushes all of that to one side. I reach over excitedly and grab it. Green. The battery still isn't fully charged, but it's at 8 of 10, and well clear of the red zone where it wouldn't start up. This time, pressing the power button brings the whole thing to life. I sit up straight and try to calm my breathing and my runaway heartbeat. The questions that brought me here feel like faint echoes now that I'm so focused on finding out what's been out there in the woods. And the fact that an answer could just be a few seconds away is beyond exciting. I'm trying to dampen my expectations of seeing a clear photo of a flying saucer, as cool as that would be. But is it really all that far-fetched? I leave the camera connected to the charger as I boot it up, just in case disconnecting might do any harm. I don't know why it would, but with the potentially amazing data that could be on this thing, I really can't be too careful. I tap a little menu icon at the top left corner of the touchscreen, then tap into gallery mode. Here we go. The first photo is from 4 months ago, but it's really blurry. I think it's someone's hand. Obviously, whoever was setting it up. Any trail cam like this is going to be motion activated, so it makes sense. I'll probably have to cycle through more than a few photos of deer and birds before I get to the explosive stuff. But when I tap the arrow to move to the next photo, that illusion is shattered in an instant. I don't have to cycle through anything to get to the explosive stuff. It's right here, in the form of the second image, 4 months old, which is a perfectly crisp photo of the person who set up the camera. My breathing, my heartbeat, my thoughts, they're all going haywire now. Because now that I'm looking at a photo of the guy who set up that camera in the woods, I'm looking at a photo of myself. 7. What the hell? I'm the one who put the camera in the woods. That was 4 months ago. Not long before the incident that robbed me of my memories. Robbed me of my very identity. But what was the incident? Why did Dr. Chambers put me in a cabin right next to those woods, where he obviously knows I've been before? And where do the mysterious lights fit in? I'm not thinking about one thing or the other anymore, my amnesia or the lights in the woods, because they no longer seem like separate things. There's a link here. There has to be. And there's only one man who can fill in the blanks. I have to be careful here. I have to be cagey. The total trust I had for Dr. Chambers is gone. Even if there's nothing nefarious about what he's keeping from me, which is a big if, he's been dishonest. It's one thing to want to leave me to remember things on my own, which has involved not telling me things. But when he talked about me spending a weekend in this cabin, he said he'd picked it because it's isolated. Of all the cabins in the Highlands, choosing this one at random would be too much of a coincidence to even seriously consider. Dr. Chambers knows, and it's high time for me to find out everything he knows. "Is this an emergency?" his recorded voice asks when I make the call. I press 1 without waiting for the prompt. A few rings later, he's on the other end of the line. "Is everything okay?" he says, sounding less concerned than the first time I called, since it's probably less of a surprise. "I don't feel too good," I reply. Dishonesty is a two-way street, after all, and this strikes me as the best way to make sure he hurries out here in person. That's exactly what he suggests, and I'm glad to hear he's only 20 minutes away. I spend the first few of those minutes at the camera, looking for more photos. There are 3 more of me, all captured within a matter of seconds. And that's it. That's it? At first I'm confounded, but then I realise what's happened. 4 months ago, I set the camera up and immediately put it into video mode. There are a handful of photos and then several dozen videos. This is good news in itself. But annoyingly, the camera can't play back its own videos. To see what else it recorded out there, I'm going to need to wait for a computer. Hopefully Dr. Chambers has his laptop in the car. I think he will, but I obviously can't call him back to request it. Not without him wondering what I want it for. And with all the fresh uncertainty about his true motives for wanting me to stay in this particular cabin, the less he knows about my motives for calling him out here, the better. With the videos being a dead end for now, I spend the rest of the time deciding how to greet him. Everything runs through my mind, right up to the nuclear option of restraining him to make sure I get the truth. I'm not going to do that, but I think the fact I even thought of it says a lot about how shaken I am. The sound of a car pulling up sharpens my mind. My main decision is really what to say first, and it comes to me just in time. "Do you feel any better?" he asks, speaking on his way in as I hold the door open. I wait until he's inside and the door is closed behind us. "I went into the woods last night," I tell him. "You what?" he gasps. "Alone? With that knee?" I hold my tongue. He seems concerned, but concerned about me, rather than about anything being unravelled. This is what I'm trying to feel out. Did you see the lights again? He continues. This time he sounds intrigued. I walk towards the bedroom and gesture for him to follow. Once we're there, I point to the camera. What's this? He asks, picking it up. When he does, he sees my face. His face quickly reflects surprise. This was just before your crash. Crash. I finally have a more specific word than incident, at least. But naturally I push for more. You need to tell me everything, right now, I demand. My voice leaves no doubt, and I don't think my body language does either. It is a demand. What else is on here? Dr. Chambers asks. Any lights? Everything, I repeat. Tell me who I am. Tell me why I'm here, and tell me what happened. Then you can see the rest. I'm playing the only cards I have, and fortunately, his reluctant nod tells me they're working. You were a gamekeeper, he said. Your name is Darrell Trent. This is your home. And you crashed, head on into an oak tree at the edge of the road outside. I thought bringing you here would help to rekindle some memories before your evaluation on Monday. The music I loaded onto the phone was from the most listened to playlists on your own phone, and everything I've done was an attempt to help you remember who you are. Darrell, I don't know a single thing about these lights, but believe me, I want to. Maybe I'm too trusting, but I do believe him. Darrell Trent. It doesn't ring any bells, but the gamekeeper angle makes sense in the context of the camera. And the crash story makes sense in the context of the missing trees. Do you have your computer in the car? I ask. There are videos on the camera, but it can't play them back. They're on the memory card. His eyes widen as he stands up. 1 minute, he says, halfway to the door before the words are out. He's back before I know it, laptop in hand. I have one last idea, to make sure I'm not making a mistake sharing this with him. Search for Darrell Trent Gamekeeper, I request. He types, without delay. A few seconds later, there are a bunch of articles with thumbnail pictures of me. The headlines are full of words like crash and coma. He's telling the truth. I hand him the memory card and eagerly wait for its contents to display. They pop up almost instantly, and the first thing I look at is the date under each thumbnail. The latest two are from 6 days ago, which must be when the battery ran out, but there's nothing obvious in the thumbnails. The first video is from the day I set up the camera, so I encourage Dr. Chambers to open that one for starters. It's weird, watching myself talk into a trail camera, but I listen keenly. This is where I found the deer carcasses. I speak directly into it, and it has to have something to do with the puncture marks in the ground. I don't know where the holes are coming from, but this camera can help me find out. If anyone else sees this, maybe whoever has stolen 3 of my cameras this year, at least watch the rest of the videos and tell me what's there. I don't want to lose any more animals. And now the most recent? Dr. Chambers asks, after a pensive silence. I don't know what to make of all this, but watching the newest videos does make sense. I reply. A few seconds later, the screen is filled with a dark video. I see the time in the corner. That's the same time the light started last night, I say, with growing excitement. We're going to see them. Both our gazes are fixed on the screen. The sound of frightened grouse sharpens my focus even further, because I know what that means. On cue, the area illuminates. I see fallen trees, getting brighter and brighter. Skip forward a few minutes, I say, knowing how long it takes for the lights to descend. He follows my suggestion, and when the video resumes, everything is a lot brighter. I can just about make out a shape when the light becomes blinding. Jeez, Dr. Chambers says, holding out a hand like he's guarding his eyes against the sun itself. But me? I can't even do that. When the light reaches its peak, I can't look away. I can't do anything. I feel my head pounding, my chest rising far too fast. From total brightness comes total darkness. When my eyes close of their own volition, I see the truth, but I'm falling. I'm on the bedroom floor. Just as my identity comes back to me, my world fades to black. 8. Darryl! Darryl! I can hear him. I can feel his hand slapping my cheek. It feels like an almighty effort, but I force my eyes open. Dr. Chambers, I pant out. Peter, he says. Please, just Peter. I push my hands to the floor to help myself back up. After all this time, the thoughts in my mind are overwhelming. I remember everything. It wasn't the crash, I say, breathing hard despite my best efforts. Peter, I crashed because of the light. I saw it up close, blinding. Like that. And it did something to my brain that the video just undid. Mother's maiden name? He asks, testing my theory. Stevenson, I say. 5 minutes ago I didn't know my own name. So this is pretty telling. Dr. Chambers, or Peter, as he apparently is now, covers his mouth in shock. It turned towards me on the road that night. I go on, remembering the long-forgotten incident like it was yesterday. I don't know if it was alive, or if it was maybe a craft, belonging to something that is, but it came from the sky. These lights, they're... Alien? Peter asks. I wasn't leaving him hanging for drama's sake. I can just hardly bring myself to say it. After so long of feeling like people think I'm crazy, shouting about aliens is a pretty good way of making myself think it too. But it is what it is, and I now know that everything Peter told me about myself is true, so I feel safe talking to him. Alien, I eventually say, forcing it out. And I know my psych evaluation is tomorrow, but we've already got the result we wanted. Okay, it didn't go how you expected, but I'm back. My memories, my identity. I'm back. And those are my woods, Peter. The animals out there are my responsibility, and I can't keep quiet about this. So what are you saying? He asks. We need clearer footage. This is just a blinding light. We need cameras at different angles, and we need floodlights. I know what time the lights come, and this is the last night before my evaluation. You've always been on my side, but the others, I need to convince them. I can't keep quiet about this, and without proof, I can't tell them alien lights made me forget who I am, not without being locked up somewhere worse than they already had me. You can't be serious, Peter says. I let silence speak for me. He closes his eyes and sighs. If I give you a shopping list, can you bring me the stuff I need? I ask. I won't ask you to come with me. Just bring what I need and that's it. I know I'm not supposed to leave, according to your original plans, but this wasn't in any plans and we can't ignore it. I have money behind a panel at the back of my wardrobe. I'll give you something for your help. If anything, Peter looks more shocked by all of this than I am. I don't want your money, he says, gulping, but I'll help. I've never seen anything like what that light did to you, Darryl, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to find out where it came from. 9. I give Peter a list of everything we'll need. It's simple but not exactly short, with plenty of cameras to make sure we don't miss any angles. Same story with the floodlights. 8 of the same thing. He heads off again, wasting no time. There's something I want to do now that I know who I am. For the next hour or two, I'm going to look into news reports and social media posts about everything that happened here. Not just my crash, but any public sightings of the lights. Peter left his computer open on the bed, in another sign that he's a trusting and trustworthy guy. But the return of my memories means I know where mine is too, in the safe, at the back of my wardrobe. I get it out quickly, and take a look at my emails first. After 4 months I'm expecting all sorts. Spam, billing notification, spam, credit card expiry notice. I don't know where my own phone is, because I guess that would have been in my pocket when I crashed, and is probably with the police or at the hospital now. The lack of personal messages in my email inbox, even from the days before the crash, is pretty galling. Peter did always tell me I didn't have any close family worrying about me, but it seems like I don't have anyone at all. I try and shake it off. onto the news reports. I search for my own name again, like Peter did earlier, and this time I read an article. It's short, really just your typical bare-bones kind of local online newspaper article. There's nothing to make me feel anything either way. But then what gets me is the top comment under the article, or at least the most upvoted. I went to school with Darryl, a bit of a weirdo. A couple of replies agree with the commenter, and no one disagrees. This is almost like that idea of being at your own funeral and listening to what people say about you. I don't like what I hear. Within a few more seconds, I close the window and stop searching for my own name. I start looking for news about lights in the sky over Glen Fyvie, the name of this beautiful estate where I live and work. But I find the square root of nothing at all. It is a very isolated spot, and the lights look like they didn't kick in until a pretty low altitude. But I'm still surprised that no one else has seen anything. If it wasn't for the video, I'd probably be doubting myself at this point. So I glance over at the camera with more than a little gratitude for having found it. I end up reading more general stuff about trauma-induced amnesia, which leads me down a rabbit hole of theories about alien-related incidents too. Like everyone else, I've heard the old stories about people being abducted and not realising they were gone for days. But like almost everyone else, I've never taken them seriously. But if lights from the sky can do this, which I know they can, it's a lot to think about, and I quickly find a lot to read about. It's all more interesting than it is consequential though, at least in the immediate term, so the sound of Peter's return pulls me away instantly. He's brought what I need, and he's now insistent that he's going to come with me. I have an idea to upload a video talking about what we're going to do and to set it to go live in a few days in case something goes wrong. He agrees, so we look for the best and easiest way to do this, then quickly get it done. Before much longer, we're heading for the woods to make the most of the daylight. It's a less arduous journey in the car than it was on foot, naturally enough, and Peter takes us off-road to the edge of the trees. The cameras are small, but we have a lot of big floodlights to carry further in, so every extra yard he drives makes our task that much easier. I have experience of setting up cameras and lights, so I take the lead. Our first 10 minutes are spent wandering and wondering anyway, as we take in the fallen trees and the bizarre holes in the ground. I make sure to get plenty of footage of this, from a first-person POV, that's hopefully going to make people feel like they were right here with us. As the day wears on, we go back to the car rather than stand in the cold. We talk a little bit, but there's a lot of silent anticipation. When we do talk, I tell Peter about the comments I saw online, and about the feeling I've had since then that I might have been better off not knowing who I was. When I woke up this morning, I was no one in particular, but I could have been anyone. Now I know that as far as anyone else is concerned, I really am a no one. No one came to the hospital to see me. No one stuck up for me in the comment section of the article. And even my fully renewed memories are drawing a blank in thinking of anyone I'd describe as a truly close friend. Nonsense, Darryl, is all he says. How many people do you think would be doing what you are right now? And remember that it's not who you are, it's what you do. The deeds make the man, and you're a young one with a good mind. Remember that too. They're nice words, and welcome ones, but words can only go so far. I appreciate them all the same, and thank him for saying it. An hour before the time I've pinpointed for the light's expected arrival, we head out for the last time with our coffee mugs and torches. The coffee is to keep us warm, rather than awake. No one will be dozing off tonight, and the torches will aid our walk back into the clearing, and the much more powerful remote-controlled floodlights we've placed all around it. When we reach the clearing, we hide and get ready for what's coming our way. I think again of the coin toss thought experiment, but this time I know what I want. I actually feel worry building as the time gets nearer and the lights don't come. How accurate was I? Are they coming back? These feelings don't last long though, because my worries about the lights not coming are soon replaced by a natural apprehension when they do. The lights are here, and they're coming down. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad they're here. The only thing is, I don't know if I should be. 10. The lights seem to be starting from higher up tonight. It might just seem like that because I'm right under them, but the fact that the grouse don't go crazy until the lights rain down this time makes me think they are further away. The grouse must be able to sense them from a certain height, even if the lights aren't on yet, I figure, whatever they actually are. And holy hell, even before we activate our floodlights, I can start to make out shapes of what we're looking at. There are 3 lights, as always, and they're partially illuminating each other's bodies? Is that the word? I hear some words from behind me at that moment, and I can't disagree with what Peter is saying. If we're going to do it. He sounds terrified, and I don't blame him. But he's right. I'm holding the remote control that will light up the whole array and give us a full view of whatever is in here with us. So I give the countdown. 3, 2. On 1, I hit the button. On 1, they come into view. The best I can do is say that each one looks like a metallic eyeball, with cable-like tentacles hanging below. These things are alien in every sense of the word, and something makes me think they are alive, and not robotic vehicles of some kind. When one turns to stare right at me, a blinding light from what I'm classifying as its pupil makes it hard to keep looking. But keep looking, I do. I somehow sense that I shouldn't be able to look at it like this, and that I wouldn't be able to if I hadn't already been stupefied by a direct viewing 4 months ago, and then cured by the video this morning. It hits me all of a sudden that Peter will have none of that acquired immunity. And when I look at him, I see a trance-like stare in his eyes. Talk to me, I beg him, more in hope than expectation. He doesn't look like he'll be saying much any time soon. He will be fine, I hear. Do I? Do I hear it? There's no sound, but I feel like I hear it. He will be fine, the floating creature repeats. It's definitely not making a sound, but it's definitely communicating with me. The next thing I know, while the other 2 creatures attach their tentacles to the ground and look like they're extracting minerals like they're sipping juice through a straw, the closest of the 3 starts getting even closer. More specifically, it's extending one of its tentacles in my direction. What do you want? I ask, shouting over the rabble of grouse, even though it seems like some kind of telepathy is at play. The tentacle stops, barely 6 inches from my forehead, right before its owner answers me with 3 words I could never have seen coming. Arise with us. 11. Arise with us? What the hell does that mean? This time, a reply comes to prove that I really don't need to talk for these things to know what I'm thinking. It means we believe you can help us, the creature tells me. We mean no harm. Our closest station requires small quantities of minerals found in your Earth, topped up around once per human generation. We seek what we need in areas of minimal disruption, and until this time we have avoided direct contact. Your accident was just that, an accident. I can hardly believe what it's telling me. What are you? I ask. Again, I say it out loud. Talk about your deeply ingrained habits. Are you alive? And how can I possibly help? We are sentient, it tells me, elevated by the fusion of biology and technology, created by purely biological beings from another world. They seek diversity of neurological development, and someone like you, someone from a race like yours, with a character like yours, could increase our pool of fused knowledge. My character? I don't say that out loud, but as always the creature picks it up. Without fear, You returned to seek knowledge from a source that caused you pain in the past. Such a quest for knowledge aligns with our own. The decision is yours alone, but if you choose to arise with us, you could contribute to the development of knowledge in a way no human has ever matched. I could finally be someone, I ponder. These guys are clearly peaceful, and their makers are clearly geniuses. I came out here to find where the lights came from so I could tell people, expanding knowledge, but I never dreamed I would find this. Much less that these things would think I could somehow expand their knowledge by whatever kind of fusion they want. Not just someone, it replies. You could be the one. I think about my life here. I think about the 4 months when no one visited me in hospital, and the comment section where no one defended me. I think about my lack of friends, my lack of a partner, the fact that I seemed content living in an isolated cabin and managing an estate for some posh landowner who barely knows my name. The closest thing I have to a friend is the doctor standing next to me. That's my life. It seems like this decision is going to make itself. I glance away from the creature and catch sight of Peter, still stunned. Peter. What happens to him? I ask. He will feel nothing. You would just leave him here? We could not bring 2 new minds, it states matter-of-factly. As peaceful as they seem, they suddenly don't seem so moral. Leaving Dr. Chambers to die out here, whether he feels it or not, is even worse than leaving me lying with my head on the steering wheel, with only my car's built-in SOS function to thank for the ambulance arriving soon enough to save me. I might be a nobody, but I know what I'm not. I'm not someone who abandons his friend. It was Peter who told me that the deeds make the man, and I wouldn't be much of a man if I left him out here just so I could be someone somewhere else. Your selflessness is impressive, the creature says. Our desire to stay unseen by your kind has been based on a seemingly erroneous belief that selflessness was beyond you. We will relay this to our creators, and on the next reload cycle we may be permitted to appear openly. When's that? I ask. Tomorrow? No. More than a human lifetime from now. It says, we are the final 3 receivers. After tonight, we return to the station, and none of our kind will return until they must. Talk about timing, I think, more glad than ever that Peter and I came out here. Will I be able to bring him back around with a video of your light? I ask. He must sleep at least 1 night before his full mind returns, it says. But yes, as it worked for you, it will work for him. With that, the creature floats away and starts sucking up whatever nutrients it needs from our ground. Just a few minutes later, all 3 of them leave. When their alien lights subside as the creatures rise once more to leave only our own bright floodlights, Peter's bewildered expression fades. It fades for a second at least, then returns. What the? Where am I? He asks. Who are you? It's okay, I tell him, making sure to talk in the calmest voice I can. Maybe I can be someone after all, I think to myself. I just made contact with a creature from another world, created by a brilliant race who are coming back sometime in the future, and apparently wanted someone like me to join them. I'll be able to share soil samples, as well as video and photos, with whoever I decide are the best people to take it to. But first of all, I need to focus on the main thing, helping Dr. Chambers navigate a difficult moment I know only too well. It's weird to think I'm kind of playing the doctor role now, but I'll do my best. We will decide who to take this to, because I wouldn't be here without him. This was a team effort, and my total focus for now has to be on getting the team back together. I'll take a leaf from his book, and not tell him too much tonight. But I make sure to start gathering the cameras, so I have the flash footage I'll need to rekindle his identity and memories after he's had a good sleep. Please, what's going on? He asks. And I know I already asked who you are, but who am I? I can explain everything in good time, I say, putting a reassuring hand on his shoulder, flashing a smile that I try to make warm without being dismissive. Well, maybe not explain, but I can definitely prove it. Thank you for listening to Arise With Us, written by Craig A. Faulkner, narrated by John Keelty. Copyright 2021 by Craig Faulkner, all rights reserved.